Hello dear viewers, hope you all are doing good. Welcome to Sensi Education, where we explore everything commerce. I am Shana Quad, help you to make your concepts easier. So we are preparing for our KSET examinations of 2024 commerce subject. And so far we have looked into various concepts of our Unit 1, Business Environment and International Business. If you have missed any of the concepts or any of the videos, attaching the link in the description box, please go through it. Today we will be learning more and looking into more concepts related to international business. So let's get started. So in our previous video, we have looked into concepts related to international business and globalization. So globalization is nothing but businesses across national borders, which is in simple terms can be termed as imports and exports, right? Imports is something which, if I take an example of India, import is something which we are purchasing from another country. We are importing from another country. Goods which are coming inside from another country to our country is known as imports. Whereas exports is something which we are producing in our country and which we are selling it out for the foreign country. So goods which are going out of our country. So right, so this is the concept of imports and exports. Now, when we are importing and exporting, or when we are into international business, there are certain trade restrictions. Trade restrictions. They are termed as tariff barriers. Tariff barriers or non-tariff barriers. So barriers is nothing but some hurdles, right? Some obstacles. So it's a trade restriction. There are two types of trade restriction, that is tariff barriers or non-tariff barriers. Tariff barriers is something which require monetary value, a trade restriction on monetary terms, whereas non-tariff is not related to monetary terms. So let us look into first tariff barriers. Now, tariff barriers is something related to monetary terms, right? But why are we restricting on our trade? Why are we putting some barriers when we are importing goods and services, right? Firstly, we want to protect our domestic countries, domestic companies, right? We have to protect our domestic companies. We just can't import everything from foreign countries, right? We have to try to protect our domestic companies. We have to also look into that we use our products and services more. So domestic companies, again, it can be a government revenue too, a revenue for government, right? Importing such taxes, in simple term I can say taxes on import of goods and services is a government revenue, whereas this imports may ultimately lead to high prices to consumers. These may lead to high prices of consumers, right? So after there will be some basic prices, then due to this taxes, import duty, customs, all after charging all the concepts to these prices, then customers may lead to pay high prices for the product, particular goods and services. So this is about why do we levy tariff barriers or taxes for imports and exports. Now, tariff barriers, first there is something known as ad valorem tariff. Ad valorem means according to value. According to value. So, when we are importing any goods and services, we levy taxes or tariffs based on value of that goods and services. Based on value of good or service is nothing but ad valorem tariff, right? Next, there is something known as specific tariff. Specific tariff, which means a specific percentage is set. A specific percentage is levied for goods and services. Next, there is something known as tariff rate quotas. Tariff rate quotas. Okay, quota means what? Limit, right? When the goods and services are imported according to certain limit, then specific rate is applied. If it is crossing above the limit, then high prices, high tariff rate, high taxes are levied. Which means when you, so again repeating, when you are importing goods and services within a specific quota, then a specific tariff rate is levied. But if it is exceeding the quota, then more higher rate of tariff are implied. So this is about 3 types of tariff rates or trade restrictions which involve monetary restrictions. Here we are imposing taxes on money level, right? Now what is non-tariff barriers? Non-tariff barriers means restrictions on goods and services. First, it is about quotas. Quota is nothing but limit. We are limiting the number of goods and services that has to be imported. There will be certain quota. Exceeding that quota, you cannot import goods and services, which means quota. Next, we have about import licensing. Import licensing. Licensing means what? Obtaining permissions. So for specific goods and services, only specific people who have such license can import such goods and services. Next, it is about sanctions. Nothing but a permission or again a penalties that is levied. Okay. Next, there's something known as embargoes, which means that you cannot deal in specific types of goods and services. There is a restriction in dealing or importing on specific types of goods and services. So this is about non-tariff barriers, that is quota, licensing, sanctions and embargoes. Whereas on tariff barriers, it is nothing but ad valorem tariff, specific tariff and tariff rate quotas. So in total, tariffs are nothing but trade restriction or hurdles to protect domestic companies, or it can be a form of government revenue which may ultimately lead to high prices to consumers. So this is a small concept related to tariff barriers and non-tariff barriers. So now the concept of foreign investment, that is foreign direct investment and foreign portfolio investment. Let us understand this in simple first, like country A and country B. Right, the country I am staying in is my country, whereas rest of the countries are foreign to me, right? So now, when country A citizens or residents invests in the companies of country B, then it is known as foreign investment. Right? When companies, residents, individuals, whoever it is, invest in another country, it is termed as foreign investment. Foreign investment are again of 2 types, that is FDI and FPI. Very important concept, FDI and FPI. First, FDI stands for foreign direct investment. Foreign direct investment, FDI. This investment is when individuals or companies invests in another countries companies with intention of acquiring ownership, it is termed as foreign direct investment. This is a type of long-term investment. A long-term investment which is highly risky. Okay, when we are investing in another country's companies, where we are acquiring ownership of those companies, it is known as foreign direct investment, right? It might be mergers and acquisitions, right? Where country A company in country A merges with a company of country B, right? It is a new business again. So mergers and acquisition, or it can be greenfield companies or greenfield investment, which means starting a new business. Greenfield, starting a new business. So an individual or a company of country A starts a new business in country B. It is known as greenfield investment. This again leads to creating employment, boosts economic growth, and leads more of foreign investment in both the countries, right? So next, it can be again brownfield investment. Greenfield, brownfield, very important from the point of view of MCQ again. So brownfield investment is nothing but investing in existing companies, and again it can be joint venture, where two companies come together and join together to form a new business, mergers and acquisitions, or it can be vertical FDI. Vertical in the sense, right, so a company which is involved in manufacturing merges or joins hands with a company who is involved in marketing, right? This is known as vertical FDI, and there's something known as horizontal FDI. Horizontal FDI means joining hands with a company who is with your same level. Like if my company is involved in production, I am merging or joining or joint venture with a company which is also involved in the production level only. This is known as horizontal FDI, whereas vertical FDI means involving in the companies of different category of same business but are involved in different categories, whereas horizontal is same process of functions. Next, horizontal, or it might be conglomerate FDI, which means completely different businesses joining hands with completely different businesses. So this is about foreign direct investment. A simple thing to understand is that it's a long-term investment with the motto of acquiring ownership in another country, and there are these different types of investments or under foreign direct investment. Now let's look into the concept of FPI, that is foreign portfolio investment, which is nothing but foreign portfolio investment, when individuals or companies invests in stocks, bonds, or other securities of foreign companies. Okay, here the investments is in stock, bonds and securities. There's no acquiring of ownership, and it's a short-term investment which is not very risky as FDI, like less risky, right? So this is about foreign portfolio investment, building our portfolio, right? Building our portfolio by investing in different types of securities, stocks, bond securities of foreign companies, which is a short-term investment and which is less risky compared to foreign direct investment. So these are the two types of investment, FDI and FPI, and we have looked into the whole concepts related to it. Now let's look into the concept of BOP, that is balance of payments. Balance of payments, BOP. What is this balance of payment? We have heard of balance sheets, right? Which is a financial statement which gives information about a company, about its assets, liabilities, what is the financial position, how is the company performing, right? It's something related to companies. When we are speaking in broader terms and when we are speaking in terms of country, then balance of payment, that is BOP, is a financial statement of a country. It's a record of financial transactions or of goods and services of our country with rest of world, right? This is nothing but BOP, that is balance of payment. It gives us a complete information about the transactions with the rest of the world, right? There are three components of BOP. Components of BOP, that is capital account. This account records transactions of all assets or ownership that is transferred from one country to another. That is transferred from one country to another. That is about capital account, right? Next, there's something called current account, which records all transactions of imports and exports. The transactions related to how much we are importing, how much we are exporting of goods and services. Goods or services. Sometimes it is also referred as visible and invisible items. Whereas this is visible, right? This is invisible. Invisible items. So, current account records all the transactions of visible and invisible items or exports and imports. Next, there is something known as financial account. Financial account, which records the transactions of investments in stocks, real estates from one country to another country. So, these are three important concepts of components of balance of payment. Balance of payment is nothing but which depicts the economic position of a country, which summarizes the transactions of country with the rest of the world is nothing but balance of payment and BOP. And how do we record it? In three different concepts, that is capital account, current account and financial account. There are also concepts which are very important to understand and have an idea about is national income. National income is nothing but income of all the goods and services that are produced within the country. So this is a sum total of goods and services produced in a country. That is national income. There is something known as GDP, right? Which is gross domestic product. Gross domestic product is goods and services which are produced within the country. Domestic goods and services, the value of goods and services which are produced within the country is known as gross domestic rate. Then GNP, gross national product. So goods and services produced by the residents irrespective of within the country or outside the borders. So that is GNP, gross national product. There is something known as per capita income, which is measuring the income of per head, per person is known as per capita income. So these were the few important concepts which I think should have an idea about. So this is all about BOP and balance of payment. The concepts of globalization, there's a very important thing to understand is about regional economic integration. Regional economic integration. So what is integration? Coming together, association, right? What is regional economic integration is when member countries come together to eliminate or to reduce the tax burdens. We just looked into tariffs and non-tariff rates, right? To eliminate or reduce those tariff burdens so that there's a free movement of goods and services or capital. So this is nothing but regional economic integration, where some regions come together for economic integration, which are FTA, which is free trade area. Free trade area. The area or the trade between these areas is free, which is it eliminates or maybe sometimes reduces the tariff rates between the movement of goods and services between member countries is known as FTA, right? Next, there is something known as custom union. Custom union, which is again similar to FTA, but FTA plus here they levy common taxes on trade with non-member countries. Have common taxes with non-member countries is known as custom union. Then there's something known as common market. Again, here it is FTA, which is free trade area, plus common taxes, but also in common market it allows movement of labor, money from one country to another country. Okay, this is about common market, having a common market because movement of labor and money from one country to another member country. Next, there is about economic union, when member countries share economic policies or have similar economic policies and sometimes have same currencies. The currency which is acceptable in country A is acceptable in country B too, then it is nothing but economic union. Next, there is something known as political union. Here it is again sharing of political governance or institutions is nothing but political union. So these are different types of agreements of regional economic integration. Few of the examples are NAFTA, which is North American Free Trade Association, FTA or Free Trade Area. Next, there's something known as SAARC, right, which is South Asian Association of Regional Countries, right? It's the association of 8 countries. It's known as SAARC. So it's very important. Sometimes they may ask us to understand about or match the following or full form related to few of these concepts. So it's very important. Then there's something known as EU, which stands for Economic Union. There's something as ASEAN, which is Association of Southeast Asia Nations. This ASEAN. So these are few of the agreements of NAFTA, SAARC, EU or SEAL. And how it works is there are different types of integrations or agreements that members come together and have an agreement with each other that we will have such restrictions or agreements, or we will reduce or eliminate some tariffs, and such imports and exports happen between some countries. That are a few of the examples listed here. So, international economic institutions, there are 5 important international economic institutions. Those are which stands as IMF, that is International Monetary Fund, World Bank, okay, then WTO, that is World Trade Organization, next UNCTAD, which is again United Nations Conference of Trade and Development, Trade and Development. Next we have OECD, which is Organization of Cooperation and Economic Development. So these are 5 important international economic institutions. Let's look into 3 more important from our examination point of view are these 3, that is IMF, World Bank and WTO, whereas having information of other 2 is also very beneficial. Let's look into these 3 most importantly, that is IMF, that is International Monetary Fund, okay, which was established in 1944 at Bretton Woods Conference. And which includes 190 member countries. 190 member countries. Why was this established? What is the role of International Monetary Fund is that it promotes international monetary cooperation, gives financial security and enhances employment, economic growth and tries to reduce poverty. So International Monetary Fund is one of the very important economic institution because it tries to boost economic growth and development. It reduces poverty, boosts employment, right? So this is about IMF. Next, World Bank. World Bank was again came into existence in 1944 with IMF in Bretton Woods Conference itself. So the outcome of the Bretton Woods Conference were these 2 important institutions, that is World Bank and IMF, right? It provides long-term capital for countries for development and growth. The countries which are requiring or which are developing are underdeveloped countries. The member countries which are underdeveloped and are requiring funds for reconstruction, for such countries, World Bank helps to for reconstruction and development of growth and economy, right? So there are 5 organizations under World Bank. Those are IBRD, which stands for International Bank for Reconstruction and Development. So World Bank is bank of 5 families, 5 family banks. Okay, let me 5 family banks, which is IBRD, that is International Bank of Reconstruction and Development. Next is IDA, International Development Association. Next is IFC, International Finance Corporation, right? Next stands for MIGA, which stands for Multilateral Investment Guaranteed Agency. And the last one is ICSID, which is again International Center for Settlement of Investment Disputes. So these are the 5 family banks or banks which are very important and work under World Bank are IBRD, IGA, IFC, MIGA and ICSID, which was again the outcome of Bretton Woods conference. These two important. The last concept is World Trade Organization, WTO. So it was formed in 1995. It came into establishment in 1995. It ensures smooth movement, or I can say trade between countries. Okay, this World Trade Organization or WTO was established to replace GATT. To replace GATT, that is nothing but General Agreement on tariffs and trade. So before 1995 and until 1995, this was under a rule which used to guide or help in movement of goods and services. But then this was terminated and WTO, that is World Trade Organization, came into force, and it's headquartered in Geneva, Switzerland. Okay, important, and it's one of the important economic institution. So these are 3 important economic institutions: IMF, World Bank and World Trade Organization. So this is about everything related to business environment and international business. I have tried to cover all the most of the concepts which are into the syllabus of KSET 2024. Apart from this, if there is something that you come across, it's very important that you go through everything, or you can share it with me and I'll try to make concepts and make a video on the same. So yeah, don't forget to subscribe and hit like and share this video with all the KSET aspirants. Until then, happy learning and see you in the next video.